Hello and welcome to Prague, more specifically the Prague Castle, the largest castle complex in the world and also one of the most visited. But today we're going to show you a tip/trick how to see this beautiful place without any people. And it's quite simple. Just come here late in the evening. The first place we want to show you here at the Prague Castle is the famous Golden Lane. What may surprise you by the Golden Lane are these turnstiles at the entrance. Well, if you would come here during the day, you would have to pay a minimum of 10 euros to go into the street. But if you come here in the evening, like we are here now, after 5 p.m., it's free and you can stroll around. Some of you may argue that the houses will be closed and we will not be able to show them to you. But I think this place is absolutely magical like this in the evening when there's nobody around and it's tourist free. And I will try to tell you some stories that I know and looked up behind each house. People used to live in these houses until the Second World War. And actually this one had a famous resident, and it's not the ZZ, it's 22, and Franz Kafka himself lived in this house. There were more interesting people living in various houses, and this one with the cat, the owl, and the crystal ball was occupied by a woman called Matilda Průšová. And according to what I found, she was a famous fortune teller. So I guess you would come here to have your fortune be told, not to a Chinese cookie restaurant. Now, where does the name Golden Lane come from? Well, there are different sources. One of them say that it's because there were different alchemists trying to create gold, and goldsmiths would have their little workshops here. That's one story. But I like the other one much better, and I'm sure you will too. According to the story, there were many houses, many people living here. This was the poor part of the castle. And for all these houses, they only had like 2 toilets. So they would just piss around here. So they called it the Golden Lane. I honestly don't know which story is the true and the real one, but I'm sure, as Honza always says, somebody will correct us in the comments. At the end of the Golden Lane, you will reach a nice view, but also this tower called Daliborka. And it served as a prison and was eventually named by one of the famous prisoners there, who was Dalibor. And according to the legend, he would spend his time in prison playing violin, and he learned how to play it, and people from around would gather here and listen to the violin. You can still sort of hear it. This place is very mystical. Even though we're standing behind the St. Vitus Cathedral and the temptation from your side may be to look up at it, here on the square you should look on the ground because of the cobblestone. Right here, this is a result of an architectural competition. The architects decided to use various types of cobblestone, big old ones, small comfortable ones, different tiles, and so on, to illustrate the different varieties of cobblestones and the stones we have throughout the city of Prague, and I find it very interesting. This obelisk behind me has an interesting story to it. When I was a kid, I was told that it doesn't have the tip on the top because when they were moving it here, they actually broke it. It fell and the tip fell off. Well, that's not true. They actually did break it, but they broke the entire obelisk. And they broke it 2 times, the entire thing. So this is the 3rd one that eventually made it to the Prague Castle area. And it never had the top, it never had the triangle on top. That was put on much later in 1996 by our president Václav Havel. And the obelisk was placed here in 1928 by the first president of Czechoslovakia to commemorate the 10-year anniversary of Czechoslovakia back then. Right here, this door behind me, is the entrance to the president's office. And when I was a kid, I actually walked through that a lot because my mom used to work for President Havel. She worked for his spokesperson. To prove it, here's a picture of me sitting in one of the president's offices by this huge computer, so you can tell it's old. This behind me is the iconic St. Vitus Cathedral, and it took almost 600 years to build it. The original stone was placed in 1344 by Jan Lucemburski, and his son, Charles IV, was also present. In the evening, you cannot go inside. During the day, you can go partially inside for free, but for the rest, you have to buy a ticket. But you can go in for free for a mass. But you gotta wake up early in the morning. They are every day at 7 a.m. and on Fridays at 6 p.m. You can also climb the tower with the clock that is behind me, and as you climb up, you will actually get to see the largest bell in the Czech Republic. Its name is Zikmund, and for our American viewers, you probably wouldn't know how much 16,000 kilos is. That's how much it weighs. Well, I'll give you a perspective. It's 16 times more than the Liberty Bell. But we didn't kiss either of those. A little personal fun fact, I actually built a paper model of this cathedral for the purpose of our show called Prague vs. Crooks, where we eventually burned the model. Once you'll stand in front of the cathedral, you will experience a problem because your phone will not have a wide-angle camera enough to take a picture. So that's when Tim Cook was here and he said, we gotta use the wide-angle camera for the future phone so I can take a picture of the cathedral. This story is 100% true. If you only just saw this video about the castle, you may not really understand why we're doing it. But believe me, during the day, this place gets packed. There are lines of people lining for the security, lining for the tickets, and so on. So whenever I have visitors coming from abroad, I always take them to the castle in the evening. The complex is open till 10 p.m. So even in the summer, you can come here 9 p.m. and just as we did right now, you'll be walking by yourself. And then if you want to go somewhere afterwards, have a beer, have a drink, have a dinner, right across from the castle, right here is a restaurant that we're gonna show you. I absolutely love ending the walk through the castle here in this restaurant. I come here quite often. They have great Czech dishes, reasonably priced considering the location, and my family from US always loves it. Not only the dishes, but also the view. If you want recommendations for other places where to go eat and drink or see in Prague, we have plenty of them on the Honest Guide channel, so you can check out the other videos. And if you subscribe, you will make us happy. By the way, we've already reached 1 million subscribers, which does put a smile on Honza's face. That's it from Prague, and I will see you next week. Ahoj! And the Czech word at the end is pretty obvious. I'm going to teach you how to say castle, and that is hrad. So Prague Castle would be Pražský hrad. Hrad is castle.